Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. My name is Lori Kenshaft, and I'm your host this evening, and I am delighted that all of you are here. I'm not going to do long announcements because Peter Mayer and his music speak for themselves, and I do not care to do any more describing of what I cannot describe. But I do want to do some gratitudes. First and foremost for Mike Booth, who is doing sound, and when Pete emailed me last spring and said, I'm going to be in Connecticut on the September 28th, and, from Minnesota, Massachusetts is right next door, so could you do a concert? I said, well, if I can get the sanctuary and the sound, and I can do it simple, because life's been really busy, and Mike was the person who made it possible, so we thank him.
Thanks, Mike.
I want to thank Sarah Franco of ACMi, which is Arlington's Community Media Incorporated, Arlington's local TV station, and they are recording this tonight, so we're actually going to have a video online, and I'm so delighted after all these years. ACMi.tv is their website, in case that's of relevance future. Sarah and I have worked together on many projects related to mass incarceration, restorative justice, criminal justice. They have a whole series of things on their website related to criminal justice reform and making a more just and compassionate society. So this is the first time we've done something different, and I'm really grateful that she said yes. And I'm grateful to all of you. I think in these times, it's particularly important to nurture our hearts, nurture our communities, nurture our spirits. I've done a lot of justice work in the last several years, which is why it's been 6 years since I brought Pete here. And I'm so grateful that tonight we're breathing together. We're enjoying together. We're reminding ourselves of the big, really important things. So I'm grateful to my partner, Randy, who's been helping, for 26 years now. I'm grateful to Steve and Nancy for selling CDs, to Steve and Lynn for doing ushering, and for Steve and Andrea for selling tickets or admissions. We are running for Steve's tonight. So I think that's it in the way of announcements. Restrooms are out those doors and keep going if you need them. We will have a short intermission. It won't be very long, but some time for intermission and buying CDs. We will, I have an email list out there. If you want to hear about concerts here, Peter Mayer, I won't send you anything else, just Peter Mayer local concerts, please sign up there. And there's a water fountain in the room in between there and the restrooms. I think that's all we need to know. Oh, and turn off your cell phones or any noisemakers you may have. And thank you so much for being here on this blessed evening.
If you look to the daily news so that you can stay attuned to what matters, you might find that headlines don't describe the beauty of the world. So if you hang your head straight out of bed because you read the doom and gloom and got discouraged, ignore your computer screen and look to see the beauty of the world. Beauty like the sun come down. Beauty like the seed in the ground, rising and reaching out, reaching for the sky. Beauty like the life in the land, moving in your own two hands. Beauty like the wondrous chance to be alive. If you're down to your final dime and can't decide what else to buy to be happy, you don't need a credit card to give your heart the beauty of the world. And if you walk the street with tired feet, bending underneath the grief that you carry, lay the weight you brought along down upon the beauty of the world. Beauty like the wind in the trees, Beauty like children's dreams, beauty like the sound of steeple bells when they ring. Beauty like ties that bind us, beauty like acts of kindness, beauty like the light inside of everything. Beauty like the sun come down, beauty like the seed in the ground, rising and reaching out, reaching for the sky. Beauty like the life in the land, moving in your own two hands. Beauty like the wondrous chance to be alive. If your whole shtick is tragic hip, but you are sick of being such a big cynic, you can try out a joyful shout, sing about the beauty of the world. And if you don't like to have to wait and think your chances aren't great to get to heaven, maybe one way to save your soul is get to know the beauty of the world. Get to know the beauty of the world. Get to know the beauty of the world. I thought I'd get lucky. I thought I'd just launch right into it, but tuning is not one of my strengths, ironically. Piano was probably would have been a better choice for me. See how the night is over, the dew is on the clover, the first light in the sky is forming. No foe am I afraid of, no force, for I am made of the same light that made the morning. See it come, the sun triumphant, splendid as 1,000 trumpets, rising on the rooftops and the trees, sweeping out the evening shadows, giving out its gleaming gold for free. I can't hold on to sorrow, it's always gone tomorrow, fading away at the first bird calling. There is hate, but there is more love. I know, for I am born of the same light that made the morning. So in the eastern sky you'll find me at the break of day, when I'll be back again to make another start, coaxing open morning glories, telling hopeful stories of the heart. See how the night is over, the dew is on the clover, the first light in the sky is forming. No foe am I afraid of, no force, for I am made of the same light that made the morning, the same light that made the morning. Thank you. Thanks, Fred. What can I tell you about while I'm tuning? Wishing I played the piano. Yeah, that's right. It's still not magic. Well, it's great to be here. Thanks, Lori, for agreeing to do this. It's a beautiful day here in Boston. And yeah, it's been 6 years. It's funny. Fred Small and I exchanged email briefly, and you said 6 years ago, and wow, that was disturbing to me. You know, how the passing of time goes faster and faster the older we get. So it's great to be back here. All right. You can say that you stand apart, put a fence around your yard. You can build a tall rampart, guard it with a gun. You can dig yourself a moat, burn the bridge, burn the boat. It won't matter that much, you know, 'cause all the world is one. All the world is one. You can march in a big parade every Independence Day. You can raise up your own flag, sing your own anthem. It'll ring out in the air with the other anthems there. To the winds of the earth declare, all the world is one. All the world is one. Go and ask Buddha when he's sitting under the tree. Go ask Walt Whitman when he's looking out at the sea. Ask Alan Shepard when he's standing up on the moon, staring at that pearl of blue. Asking Adam in the breath you take. Ask the water by the river bank. Ask a strand of DNA is written in your blood. one life running in your veins, one light from one big bang. You can try and separate it, but all the world is one. All the world is one. Go and ask Buddha when he's sitting under the tree. Ask Annie Dillard when she's up on Tinker Creek. Ask Alan Shepard when he's standing up on the moon, staring at that pearl of blue. Oh. You can take an outbound train, try to make a getaway. You can ride off like John Wayne into the setting sun. But earthlings don't leave town, they just go round and round till they figure out all the world is one. 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 Thank you. Well, I live in Minnesota, right on the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin, and there's this beautiful river that runs there, and about 20 miles south of us, it really is a tributary to the Mississippi, but it's quite a big river on its own, called the St. Croix River, and it's just north of Stillwater, where I live. For miles, you can follow the St. Croix River, and then its own tributary called the Namakagon River. You can take a boat, take a canoe up that for miles, and it's all protected waterway. It's really remarkable. Even though you're close to a metro area, you don't feel like it because it's been protected for 50 years under the National Parks Service. It's quite a beautiful place. And I've been recently writing songs for a project that a photographer in the area did named Craig Blacklock to celebrate the 50 years that has been in protected status. He put out a lovely book of photographs of the St. Croix River in Namakagon, and then he has a video online that you can access if you buy the book. It's all marketing, and so he asked me if I would write the music to accompany that video. So I was very happy to do that, and I asked him, "What kind of songs do you want me to write?" And he said, one of them, he said, "Well, what about one about fishing with Grandpa on the St. Croix River?" Because there's a lot of fishing on the river. And I have not memories of fishing on the St. Croix, but real memories of fishing with my dad and brothers growing up, which is a very special memory of me. And he does have memories of fishing with his grandpa. So we kind of put it all together. And here's a little song I wrote called "Fishing on the Old St. Croix." Wake up, Grandpa said to me, we've got everything we need, the rods and reels, the sandwiches that Grandma made. We should leave while it's still dark outside, because dawn is when they start to bite. So come on, let's go fishing on the old St. Croix. So we sneak out before the sun is up, and we drive Grandpa's pickup truck, pulling Grandpa's boat with the old 5-horse outboard. By the road, I see fireflies up above. I see a starry sky and feel waves of joy, going fishing on the old St. Croix. St. Croix, I hear you calling me to dream a lazy river dream, and to see what happiness you and I may find when we get to the riverside. The new day is a sliver in the sky, and it's quiet, like we're the only people in the world. Grandpa says that this water goes 1,000 miles to the Gulf of Mexico. It's a big world, you know, when you're fishing on the old St. Croix. Take it, Pete. Thank you very much. St. Croix, I hear you calling me to dream a lazy river dream, and to see the happiness you and I may find. Now it's late and I am almost sleeping. It's been a day of catching and releasing, and that old outboard is singing me a lullaby. You would think my thoughts are far away, but in my sweet daydream they stay here in Grandpa's boat, fishing on the old St. Croix. I'm in Grandpa's boat, fishing on the old. Thank you. Now, the bad news is that I think I just broke a fingernail. Yes, it's right. It's true. I broke a fingernail, which is no small matter for a guitar player. So I'm going to just touch it up because I do carry a nail file in my back pocket. This is very important equipment for a guitar player, but it's touch and go from here on out, everybody. Just want to warn you, there might be some clunker notes. Man, that's just dumb. But the nice thing about having a nail file is not only do you keep your nails good for guitar playing, but they also look great.
I mean, so I think regardless of how the music sounds from here on out, it's gonna look really good. So, okay, well, I'm happy to report that the next song I was gonna do is actually using a flat pick. So I don't need my fingernail for that. So I'm gonna just go for a pick here. Hold on, everybody. I'm gonna play a song now. Okay, so I've been working on an album for many years now, and I'm happy to say it's coming out in just a few weeks. I have a CD release scheduled for next month, and so here's a song off of the CD, the new CD, which is going to be called Catching Rain is the new CD. I don't know if you even have a CD player anymore. But that's the name of the album. We'll call it an album. I don't know if you have any albums anymore. So here's a song that's inspired by, sort of inspired by bluegrass, gospel, I guess you'd say gospel bluegrass music. But my little caveat I'd like to make before I play this song is I actually don't know anything about heaven. You'll understand what I mean when I start singing the song. Yeah, well, right. When I died, I went to heaven, which wasn't such a big surprise. I was among the saved and chosen. We gave each other a high five. But then a number of our brethren looked around and then declared we weren't the only ones in heaven. Everybody else was there. All the fools and pleasure seekers, all the cheaters and what's worse, all the wayward disbelievers with whom I had to share the earth. I will admit I was confused then and didn't think that it was fair that when I finally got to heaven, everybody else was there. Then the Almighty came and found us, those of us who just arrived, shone a blazing light around us and looked at us with loving eyes and said, I'd never throw you in the inferno. That would be cruel and just plain wrong. So welcome all to life eternal. Welcome all to heaven's throng. I'd never throw you in the inferno. That would be cruel and just plain wrong. So welcome all to life eternal. Now can y'all just get along? Well, I'm excited that Halloween's coming up. I love Halloween, and just before I left for this trip, I pulled down the Halloween stuff from the rafters in our garage for the kids to put up in the house. My girls are 7 and 11, so it's like perfect holiday age, you know. And so they're going to put that stuff up this weekend. And I like to carve a lot of pumpkins for Halloween and kind of put them around the driveway. And then we have a bonfire in the driveway, and we offer not only candy for the trick-or-treaters, but also hot apple cider or wine if you are of age. So it's a good stop. And I kind of have a little ritual after the trick-or-treaters are gone. I like to kind of gather my pumpkins together and have one last visit with them before they start to rot. And I'm always just fascinated by the sort of personalities that come out of these little pumpkins. And years ago now, I had a sort of a moment at that time, that little time of my communing with my jack-o'-lanterns, where I began to really think deeply about the lives of pumpkins. And I thought to myself, if I were a pumpkin in the pumpkin patch and somebody tried to explain to me what Halloween was, would I want to participate? Or would I rather just live out my days in peace in the pumpkin patch? And I knew I had hit on a very important existential question. So here's a song inspired by that moment. Farmer John wandered back, and when he reached the pumpkin patch, began to speak. He said the weather's getting colder, summer's over and it's almost Halloween. That's the day, the reason you were raised, when everything about your life will change. You will have eyes to see, and for that night you'll be a bright lamp burning in the darkness. Remember that candle shines for only the briefest time in a jack-o'-lantern's heart. Pumpkins held a meeting then. Some were very apprehensive and afraid. Could this really happen to us? What could be the meaning is what they were saying. This is home, it's all we've ever known. Then one bold, outspoken pumpkin spoke. He said, I don't need eyes to see. Sounds like a lie to me. I like it just fine here in John's garden. Remember that candle shines for only the briefest time in a jack-o'-lantern's heart. There is much to ask, to ponder in the pumpkin patch, when imposing old October shows up at last. Then a pumpkin from the farther end, who had been silent up to then, over the commotion said, "What would you rather have, my friends? A chance to shine, or die here on the vine? The better way seems very plain to me. You will have eyes to see, and for that night you'll be a bright lamp burning in the darkness. And maybe that candle shines for only the briefest time in a jack-o'-lantern's heart. Oh, but one goblin smile should make it all well worthwhile. You know, you might even see the starlight. When that time is brief, makes it that much more sweet when you have a jack-o'-lanterns. Jack-o'-lanterns. Sorry, that was the wrong chord. You have jack-o'-lanterns. Now we're going to minor. Jack-o'-lantern. La 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 la. Well, now we're getting into a finger-picking song where the nail could be a factor. Okay, so I don't pretend to understand really what's going on in our country right now. But like most of us, it does affect me, and it just seems to me that some of the ideas of, I mean, I know that our country has never been perfect, but it seems some of the ideas that I grew up being taught about our country, which I cherished. You know, they just don't seem to be present in the current, identity of who we are, I guess. At least that's the way it feels. And so I've never really thought of myself too much as a quote-unquote political writer, but here's just a little song that I'd like to offer, inspired by all of that business. With an intro that sounds a lot like tuning. Wise Ben, Franklin, kind Clara, bartend. Honest Abe, Lincoln, where have you been? Great lady, liberty, are you lost at sea? Sweet Jesus, the golden rule, America, where are you? Where's the light upon the hill, the light of reason and goodwill? Where's the lamp, the golden door, the song of hope you sang before? I've been searching for the home of the kind-hearted hero who fights for justice for all. Where have you gone? I've been searching for the land where we all have a chance, land of welcome, brave and free. Come back to me, America. Thank you. Well, it feels like about time for an intermission. My friends Steve and Nancy will be at the CD table if you like. Have any questions? And I actually have the technology in my hand to run the credit card. If I guess I'll have to do that, or I can maybe give you guys, Steve and Nancy, my cell phone. But anyway, also there's a mailing list. If you feel so inclined, sign up on that. I'm going to try to be a little more technologically intelligent in the coming months about what I ought to be doing online. So maybe I'll be more better at telling you where I'm playing and all that stuff, which I've never been. So it's a wonder I'm still doing this for my work. And I'll be around to say hello if you want to connect that way, and hopefully you can stick around for a second half in a few minutes. And I hope you don't miss the high string that I would be playing with my nail if it were still there. Just have to imagine how it might sound. When I was a boy, each week On Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a testament, I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Thanks. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special conversation. I'm James Milan, and I am with Peter Mayer. Peter is a singer-songwriter, a musician who travels the country and happens to be here in Arlington at the moment for a concert later today at the First Parish Church right in Arlington Center. So Peter, thanks first of all.
Thank you,
for
James.
joining us and
Thanks for having me.
talking to us. We want to talk about your music, but also just about what brings you to this particular space to present your music. What kind of inspiration you both deliver with your music, but derive from it and from a space such as the First Parish Church here in Arlington. So we'll get to that. Let me start though by asking you, tell us how long music has been in your life. Were you, is this from the womb kind of thing, or tell us just briefly about music over the long term for you.
Okay. Well, I started playing guitar in high school, and I was sort of self-taught. My brother, my younger brother, was learning at the time, so I was kind of gravitating toward what he was doing. But I really learned with a chord book and sort of by ear, and then asking people that I knew who happened to play guitar, gee, how do you do this or that? And it wasn't till college that I began to study music in more of a formal way, take classical guitar lessons, and try my best to study music theory. I hadn't played piano or been involved in music in my younger years, so it was all kind of an uphill struggle for me trying to grasp the language of music.
Right, you didn't have that foundation that some people have that comes
right.
from.
Exactly. So I did my best with that, and I'm still doing my best, I guess, with music theory and whatnot. But that's how it looked for me. And then, I still like to be a student of the instrument, although these days I don't have as much time to sort of explore and try to learn new things as I used to. But that's how my background goes.
And I know that tonight here at the church and in general, your concerts it's original material. You're playing the stuff that you wrote. Have you been a songwriter from those early days as well?
Yeah.
So were you writing songs even as you were struggling to try and get the theory down, et cetera? Were you already writing songs?
Yeah, and I think that was just in my nature. As a matter of fact, I remember thinking, gee, I think I could, if I learned guitar, I could write songs. So even before I learned guitar, I think I had that in my mind, like that's something I could do. So I think I had a desire to write songs right away. And even the first chord I played, I was humming a tune and coming up with an idea to that. And I still think of myself primarily as a songwriter I'm a singer-songwriter guitarist, but primarily I really feel like the songwriting and the songs themselves, I like to think anyway, are what I am, offering to people when I hope that it's packaged, if you will, in a way that's good enough. The singing, the playing, but I feel that the songs themselves are really what I'm saying here. What do you think of this kind of thing?
Right, and obviously it is the whole package of the, writing a good song, and then being able to present it is obviously what everybody is after, and I have no doubt that you have mastered that more than you will probably allow yourself to admit.
Thank you for thinking that.
I am sure also that you get this kind of question a lot from folks like myself. By that I mean, I'm somebody who loves music, listens to a lot of it. As I've grown older, I've realized that there are good examples of music in every genre, and I'm fascinated by that process of musical creation. I also have, at least as far as I have identified, zero ability to produce in my mind and then on a sheet of paper or on an instrument a tune. an original tune, I should say. I do sing and I enjoy it very much. Have sung in choruses for many years and like practicing music in that way. But so I'm fascinated by the creative process. When you say that I was very struck by the notion that before you had learned to play the guitar, you already had music, songs swimming around somewhere in there, and you just needed to have a vehicle, I guess, through which to give those form. How the genesis of a particular song for you, has that changed over time, how that comes about? Or is it very similar to when you were much younger and writing your first songs versus now? And just tell us a little bit, how does that happen?
Yeah, well, it's a mystery. I'll say that right now. I mean, who knows how the human brain works? Some people sort of do. I'm not really one of them. I often think that if you want to be a writer or a creator of some sort, it's not so much that you have better ideas than anybody else, but that you take care in trying to capture those ideas. So if you have a melody that comes to you, you start humming a tune, which I would argue lots of people can do, perhaps even you. Hum an original tune, right? And tunes aren't necessarily very complicated. They just consist of a few notes, and they're usually derived from many things we've heard already. And so you hum a tune, or you think of a lyrical idea, and the challenge is to not let it go, because if you let it go, you're going to forget it. So you have a way to capture it on your phone nowadays. Before that, for me, it was cassette tapes, But find a way to record the idea. Same with the lyrical idea. For me, you get an idea all of a sudden, maybe you're reading something or just staring out the window, you think of something that could be a theme of a song or a line of a song or whatever, write it down somewhere so then you can come back to it, break it open a little bit, play with it a little bit. That's, I think, the way it works for me, is to try and take a little bit of time, especially if I think of an idea, to record it, but then I have to come back to that and then spend time with it and play around with, what about a melody? What about making it, developing it more? Mm-hmm. So
things don't, for instance, come to your mind necessarily fully formed in any way, but rather it's putting the pieces together, making sure that you, as you say, you capture the first one, and then return and build from there. Yeah,
and I think writers have lots of similarities, but I think there's differences. And I think for me, I don't get the mailbox. Some people, songwriters describe the song that came in the mail, and I just think, that's never happened to me. It's never ever happened. And an idea, I could say, comes in the mail, so to speak, like all of a sudden, you just have this moment where you think, oh, that could be something. But it's never a whole song, and I never sit down in a day and write the thing. I work at the song for usually weeks, coming back to it, and I'm a bit obsessive about it, and I lose perspective quickly. But the nice thing about writing a song is that once you have kind of the bones of it, you can be mowing the lawn and working the song through, or going for a walk, or doing the dishes. So you're kind of living inside of that space now, and you're thinking about where you want to go with it. And then if you think of a word or a phrase or a direction, you jot it down, and then you continue on from there. So for me, that's been songwriting, is just the process of it. And it's a wonderful process, I think, to somehow try to identify what you're trying to say or what you want to say. And I think for me, that's very important. Try to somehow articulate, what is this song really about? Once you decide that, you don't necessarily have to make it be obvious or something, but I think for me, as a writer, I like to know that. Some writers just go they just follow a thread and they're not even sure they can articulate what it's all about. But for me, it helps to articulate that. Then I can kind of make it all serve that theme.
And so we've talked about the process. Let's talk about the music and the themes itself, because I know that at somewhere I read that you were described, I don't think this was a self-description, but as a scientific mystic. And certainly from listening to some of your music, which I have done, it is, I'm sure you've heard this before, it is lovely music. It is lovely on the ear because of the connection between the fine, clean lines of the melody a lot of the time, the coherence, the fact that, as you were just mentioning, the lyrics cohere around an idea or a theme, it seems to me. And then there is the space that also is there in your music, between your voice and the clean, as I said, lines of the melody. It's very accessible and lovely. But I also noticed that it is full of wonder. And I'm wondering, do you, is there a way for you yourself to describe, how would you describe the music that you make?
Yeah, well, that's interesting term, scientific mystic. I didn't. I just saw that in my little blurb for this particular show, but I'm not sure who came up with that. But I'll welcome the description. I think that for me, in my life, in my younger years, I studied theology in college and stuff. So I've always been interested in, what is sort of the larger context of our lives? What is the nature of things? What's the nature of the world and our lives here? And we've discovered so much about that. And human beings have discovered, things about the world that we never used to know. The Big Bang, the fact that the universe had a beginning. Maybe there is a former incarnation of it, but we can know for certain. Now, I mean, just the mountain of evidence is overwhelming, right? The Big Bang, everything comes from a point smaller than an atom and exploded into a universe. And it's crazy stuff, Evolution, the evolution of life on Earth. All of us are blood relatives, Every living thing on Earth is part of the same family of life. We are all descendants from the first microscopic beings that were floating in the ocean for, millions and hundreds of millions of years. And then now here we are, all making our way on this planet. For me, that is just breathtaking and beautiful and mysterious and filled with meaning. And I think that our hearts and our spiritual lives as people, we haven't caught up with the knowledge that we've gained on this planet. That's my personal feeling, that our religions, which deal with what does life mean, what is the grand story that we're a part of, we visit this story every week, in synagogue and church and whatever religion we're a part of. But I think, seldom are we breaking open things like, we all come from stardust. Like every atom in this room was created in a supernova explosion. Like that is just, to me, that is religion. That's so beautiful. And so as a person, that is what I'm interested in. And I feel that music is one of the most powerful things in our lives. I mean, if I'm sleepy and at home, but I know I have to clean the house, what do? I turn on music. it changes me, right? It changes my body. It all of a sudden, it wakes me up and it gets me moving and somehow happy. And it's just, so I think that this wonderful thing that we have created using the vibrations of air on Earth, because it doesn't happen in space, music is this great art form. There's a lot that's sad about the world, but music is one of the beautiful human creations. And so to pair music with somehow meaningful lyrics, hopefully, I mean, that's what I strive for. I don't know, I mean, you know, I'd be the first one to say, I don't know if it works all the time or whatever, but that's what I strive for. And not all my songs are heavy, you know, scientific, mystic stuff. It really varies. Some of it's more personal, whatever. But in general, that's the kind of direction I like to go with my writing, is to try and break some of that open.
And do you, as a singer-songwriter, you've already mentioned, you've got the music and you've got the lyrics, and you put them together, and then you have some kind of an alchemy that happens, and you know, magic comes from that. That is the goal. As I know, do you think that music alone, without the lyrics, could serve the same purpose, which is to celebrate, as I think you were just saying, this wonderment, right, that is all around from the stuff that we have found out, as you say.
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, depending, if music doesn't have words, you can bring whatever is on your heart to that music, and it may say it right back to you, or it may change it. It may bring joy where there's sadness or whatever. But I think that music, in and of itself, is so powerful and mysterious for me. I don't, you know, I mean, there's mathematics to it and physics, which is all really fascinating, but it's just very mysterious as well. Anyway, I like the challenge of trying to bring poetry, because I think human beings live in a moment right now where there are problems for us on this planet. We're growing so large, our population, and we don't necessarily, I think, know how to relate to the knowledge that we have learned about, for example, ecosystems and the very planet that sustains our lives that we are embedded in. We are learning about that in a scientific way, but to translate that to people's lives is a different story. And I think that part of what has done that for people is ritual, poetry, song. You know, then we also need to be good readers and students of science. But I think some of those ways that, for example, religion has brought a story of reality. So here's a story about reality. What's real? What are the most important things in our life that we ought to be focusing on? How ought we to live? Those kinds of things have been brought to our lives through religions and other kinds of things. But I think that we need all the poetry we can get that addresses our relationship to the planet as we've come to understand it. You know, for example, back to the whole family of life thing, the fact that I am related to the trees and the grass and all the creatures. It's like, this is very real. It's not just you know, something conjured up. This is a very real thing. I am an earthling, and I am part of the family of life. You know, if you can write a song about that somehow rings true for people, I think those kinds of things really can help us, you know? And I'm not presuming that I'm the guy to do that, but I think that's what I believe. And I think all art forms and efforts on the planet these days should be, among other things, turning toward that, helping us navigate as a people into the future, because it's a complicated future. And if we can gain tools, spiritual, emotional, psychological tools, in addition to the knowledge that we've gained, to to find a good way into the future. I think that's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
A worthy goal, that's for sure. So, speaking about the future, let's talk about the very near-term future, just for a minute before we close, and that is, in a few hours you'll be playing in the sanctuary here, and I noticed that this is part of a short tour run that you've got in the New England area for a few days, and I know we spoke before we went on camera about your obligations at home to your daughters and how you therefore don't want to be on the road for too long at a time.
Yep.
And I know you'll be going to other parts of the country over the coming months. I'm wondering though, I was struck by the fact that these 3 particular dates are all happening in UU church environments. Is there a connection there for you beyond, I don't know, the practical logistical for why you are appearing, for instance, in our Unitarian Universalist church here?
Yeah. Well, I identify as a UU. I am in the membership book at my local church, although I feel guilty saying that because I'm virtually never there. And because, I'm either traveling, playing at other churches, or, if I'm home with the girls, my wife doesn't go. It's like, it's a struggle these days to try and actually be there. But I align very comfortably with UU, values and the philosophy of Unitarian Universalism. But the other part of the story isn't so much that I myself am a UU, but that one of my songs years ago, an acquaintance of mine who was familiar with the song and happened to be on the committee who was choosing the songs for the new hymnal. Thank you, Jason, for doing this. Got one of my songs into the newest UU hymnal called Blue Boat Home. And so now, for the last several years, that song created much more of a heightened awareness of my work in UU circles. So I'm very grateful for that because it helps me to keep making a living as a singer-songwriter because, UU's churches, communities have been bringing me in now for a long time. I do play other churches and quote-unquote folk music venues in general, but it seems that sort of church communities, progressive church communities, often seem to be sort of the most interested in my music, probably because it's evocative of spiritual themes, but it's grounded in, science and such. So it's that's a long answer to your question.
No, but I have to just actually jump in and say I think that you're right. I think you've hit the nail on the head, which is one thing that I have noticed about Unitarian Universalism myself is that it doesn't participate in that same knee-jerk conflict, it seems, as between religion and science that happens in so many contexts out there, but instead looks to meld the two in a way that your music does and clearly your own value system does, which says that these two things are not in opposition. And in fact, it is the science for, as you well articulated a little bit earlier, science and what science has brought us to as human beings, the knowledge, the understanding of how things work and how we're here, et cetera, that's brought us to, has only increased your sense of wonderment, has only increased our celebration of life.
That's an interesting point that you make. Yes, I agree, and that's one of, I think, the sort of the misunderstandings or accusations that people have against science is it takes away from the wonder. And apparently in your experience as well, certainly with mine, it's just the opposite. Anytime I take the occasion to try and learn about a flower and what's going on inside of that flower and how that flower came to be and the life of that flower, it's there's just deep beauty there that you wouldn't enjoy if you weren't learning. There's a great metaphor about what we're talking about. Chet Ramo is an author that I really like. Do you know his work? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he has a metaphor that he uses, that knowledge is an island in the sea of mystery. And the larger the island is, the more shoreline there is to encounter the sea, the sea of mystery. And that a life well lived is at the shore. It's not in the water over your head. It's not up in the highlands in your ledgers. No, it's right on the shore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That is a lovely metaphor, a lovely way to think about that stuff. All right, so we're going to wrap up in a minute, but let me just return to the fact that you need to make a living, as you said, or you've chosen to make a living as a singer-songwriter. Let's help you do that a little bit. So just tell us how many CDs do you have out there? How do people get to them? I'm hopeful on your behalf and ours that people who are watching and listening to this chat of ours are going to be more interested in listening to your music now. So let's help them out.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Where can they find
Thank you. Well, let me first say something we talked about off camera, but haven't on camera yet, is that there is another Peter Mayer. I mean, I'm sure there are many, but there's one in particular who's also a singer-songwriter. He's in Nashville. He also plays for Jimmy Buffett, has for many years. We are different people, and there's often a confusion between the two of us. So I would point that out. I'm from Minnesota. Beyond that, so he's at .com, I'm at .net. So petermayer.net, or if it's easier, Blue Boat, which is one of my songs as well. Blue Boat.
Very well-known song, I've got to say. You've mentioned it to yourself, and it's in the hymnal, as you said. But also, I have to say, I knew about it before I even knew that it was attached to your name, and it's a hit.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. So blueboat.net is also the same website. I'm currently, for whatever it's worth, working on a new website. I'm very bad at technology. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on YouTube, at least in the ways that I ought to be as an artist, but I'm trying to get educated about what I need to do. So just this fall, I'm releasing an album in about a month, and I think hopefully with that album will be a new website and things like that. So that will be the 11th album that I have, and I think that's all you need to know.
Is this the first time you've played Arlington?
No, this is I've played here in this sanctuary. Boy, I think that maybe this is the third time. Now, the last time was several years ago, so my career has been long. So every time I come to a place, they'll say, "Now, this is your first time playing here." I'm afraid it's not.
Well, I don't know.
That was before your time.
No, but that means that we'll see you again, because obviously people who are watching this, it's going to be too late for them to have seen you for this particular concert. Plenty of people will be here tonight anyway. So, but nice to know that you'll be back. You've been here before. You're here right now, and we can anticipate seeing you again. I hope so.
Hopefully, sure. Yeah, I never expect that, but I'm always grateful if somebody wants me back. So.
I imagine you and we will get our wish in that way. I want to thank you very much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, James.
Really a lot of fun to talk to you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Really appreciate it. Wish you good luck tonight. Hope you enjoy every minute of it. I'm sure your audience will.
Thank you.
This has been a conversation with Peter Mayer, and my name is James Milan. So glad you could join us, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm trying to determine if my new life without my fingernail is going to be sufficient for this next song.
So I'm just gonna, I mean, you have to move forward, right? No matter what your circumstances. So I'll just kind of try to, it's the difference between this tone and this tone. That's the difference. It's, because finger-style guitarists, not that you even care, so I won't talk about this very long. But, you play with your fingernails, that's a big deal. And so I'm just going to touch it up a little more and hope that I might just be able to catch an edge of it, Probably won't happen, but you just never know. There's a lot of funny things that acoustic guitar players do when their nails break, which I don't have time right now, but like there's all sorts of like ways that you can rebuild the nail, like with ping pong balls. Like guys will cut up ping pong balls and glue them under their nail, or they'll construct it's crazy. It's just this whole art form. And may I say that long before, and this is true, long before there were ever anything called acrylic nails. So you know how you can go to a salon now and you can get acrylic nails. You know why that is? Guitar players. I am absolutely convinced of that, and I'll tell you why. Because, 30 years ago now, I started putting acrylic on my nails, but it wasn't because I was told how to do it at a salon. There was no such thing. Okay, this is a product, this acrylic is a product that somebody invented, and then they started trying using it for all different things. I bought my first batch at a print shop, and then I found out that, they have it at the dentist, and you know what? It's not green. It's actually, you can get white or even clear. So the dentists found a use for this in dental products, and so I bought my acrylic at the dentist for years. I was working with my dentist on it. And then all of a sudden, years later, they have fingernails that they make in the salon out of the exact same stuff. So I don't know if that's meaningful to anybody, because who really cares? But it was guitar players who discovered that, yes, you can use acrylic on your nails. So there you go. All right, you learn something every day. Where were the nail techs when I need them? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wish. Can I just, is there a salon just down the street? Yeah. I was born the son of storms, brother of the sea. There are shards of ancient stars inside my hands and feet. Old mountains know me, old stones can tell my story, and wolf and loon and sun and moon call me family. But cars and roads have shod me so I cannot feel the earth. The city's hum steals me from the cradle of my birth. Creeds loudly spoken tell me earth is not my home, till I'm cut off and all but lost in this modern world. Come back, calls out the ocean. Come back, murmur the trees. Come back, whisper the blades of grass along the path say come back. Lay me down upon the ground beneath the countless stars. Send me wind upon my skin and rivers through my heart. Great powers around me, help me feel you and help me see that urban dreams and their machines cannot keep us apart. Come back, calls out the ocean. Come back, murmur the trees. Come back, whisper the blades of grass along the path. They say come back. Come back, calls out the ocean. Come back, echoes the breeze. Come back, whisper the blades of grass along the path. They say come back. To me, I was born the son of storms, brother of the sea. Well, this is the time of year when I start to wear my hat again. So I have, excuse me, I'm just going to take off this layer here. So I have a dress hat that I got from a local hat shop in St. Paul years ago, and I had quite a profound experience, ultimately buying this hat. My wife bought me a gift certificate to this shop. It was a haberdashery, and I didn't even know what that was. And so I went to this shop, and I found out that it was a very nice clothing store for men, which made all the sense in the world that my wife would want me to go there, you know? I've not been known to be a snappy dresser in my life, and but I quickly discovered that I really couldn't afford anything, even with my gift certificate. So I got a haircut instead. But I got a haircut at the haberdashery because they have a barber in the back, and you can get a cut and a shave. So I got a cut and a shave, which was kind of terrifying because they have one of those straight edge razors, but it was also wonderful because they get your face ready as if it needs something more than just, shaving cream. They put like hot towels on it to kind of soften the beard and stuff. And it's just this whole ordeal that's really just like being away at the spa is really why you go, It was wonderful. And the whole place just had this effect on me. I started to think like, I should start caring about the way I look. And so I got up, and I'm not kidding you, and forgive me if you've heard this story, but it's true, that it's the first time ever in my life that I started to do things like iron my pants, which I do now. I iron my clothes, and I never used to do that, and it's because of the haberdashery. And but when I left the haberdashery, I almost as if I couldn't control myself, like I didn't have a choice, I bought a hat. They had all these beautiful dress hats there, and then I brought it home, and I was too chicken to wear it. Like I just thought that I was self-conscious in this thing, and so I wore it around the house for a few days, for real. And then I thought, okay, I'm just going out. I'm going out into public with my hat on. And so I did it, and I'm happy to say nobody cared that I was wearing a hat. Even people I knew really quite well, they didn't even say anything, which just kind of shocked me. So now I feel more comfortable wearing it, and I just love putting a hat on my head, and I don't know why. It just feels like a little bit of magic, that you put on your head, go out with it on, And but there still aren't many guys my age wearing dress hats around town, and so I thought I should write a song to promote hat wearing. So that's what I did. And here's the song. Blame it all on JFK, that's what my dad would say. He never wore a hat, and so that fashion went away. And now my dad's old felt brim doesn't see the light of day. But there's a little hat shop that just opened down the road. Friend of men's heads everywhere, a little ray of hope. Championing what Fred Astaire and Frank Sinatra know. She will adore ya in a fedora. You be the right guy in a pork pie. You make her heart stir in a Hamburg. So don't ever be a hatless man. You stand up straighter, find your swagger, so suave and debonair. You'll have savoir-faire and catch admiring eyes when you're walking by. So don't ever be a hatless man. It's time again for gentlemen, for a clean and press, a cut and shave and a good shoe shine. Dignified men, civilized men. It's time to put that nice hat back on the president. So together, let's get measured at that shop downtown. You go black and I'll go brown. We'll snap that brim in place, tap the rim and say, don't ever be a hatless man. No, no, never be a hatless man. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. I'll just treat you to the tuning. Well, let me get it in tune before you get too excited about it. I used to think that it was a clever idea to write songs in different tunings. Now I think it's just stupid. There's something really just, I would imagine many of you find this as well, something, well, it's just a beautiful time of year, I think, autumn, and it seems to me that it's just sort of concentrated with sensory moments and memories for me, and the sights and sounds. I think maybe because it's just a rather brief time and then we move into winter, but when the colors change and the smells of bonfires and hearths come into the air, and oh man, it's just something powerful about that. The nights descend on us earlier, and yeah, it's something. And here, here's some more tuning for you. When trees are turning, chimney smoke is curling, fallen leaves are swirling, I'll be coming home. When geese are wending, apple branches bending, when the summer's ending, I'll be coming home. Autumn's first frost glistens on the corn stalks, bales of hay and sweet squash, I'll be coming home. And hill and meadow are crimson, rust and yellow, the fruits of August mellow, I'll be coming home. Rest will greet me, love will receive me, joy like a deep red wine fill my heart. I have been trotting the furrowed fields of summer, footsteps heavy under the seeds I've come to sow. When some have sprouted and I have hoped and doubted, and every bushel's counted, I'll be coming home. And rest will greet me, love will receive me, joy deep red wine fill my heart. And rest will greet me, love will receive me, joy like a deep red wine fill my heart. Nights will be cold then, foxes in their holes then, skies awaiting snow when I'll be coming home. When hearths are burning, tables set with sterling, I will be returning. Thank you. Is there a song somebody would like to hear? God is a river. I didn't I couldn't hear the first group of things there. Yeah. Well, the only thing about God is a river is it's very fingernail intensive. What can I tell you about while I'm tuning? You know, the pros do that. They banter while they're tuning, but I have not really figured out how to do that. Let's see. I can share with you something about my kids are always good for good lines that you can. My favorite one, and forgive me if you've heard this before too, if you've seen me before, because it's been a while since little Lucy said this, but my daughter, a couple of years ago now already, my youngest daughter, she was like 4 or 5 when maybe 5 years old. And we were making breakfast. So the thing is, you have to understand that Lucy loves toast. And she loves buttered toast. She has eaten that and loved it like forever. And so one morning when I was making toast, she said, Dad, Dad, when you die, can I have the toaster? And then my older daughter said, Lucy, it's not even that nice of a toaster. See how I'm not still in tune? Still not in tune, rather? I had to stop to tell the joke. Man, this is really going to be an interesting little... Now let me just review... Okay. All right, I'm going to do it. Just going to do it. In the ever-shifting waters of the river of this life, I was swimming, seeking comfort. I was wrestling waves to find a boulder I could cling to a stone to hold me fast, where I'd let the fretful waters of this river around me pass. And so I found an anchor, a resting place, a trusty rock I called my Savior, for there I would be safe from the river and its dangers, and I proclaim my rock divine, and I pray to it protect me, and the rock replied, God is a river, not just a stone. God is a wild raging rapids and a slow meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage and a peaceful sandy shore. God is a river swimmer, so let go. Still I clung to my rock tightly, with conviction in my arms, never looking at the stream to keep my mind from thoughts of harm. But the river kept on tugging, tugging at my legs, till at last my fingers faltered and I was swept away. So I'm going with the flow now, these relentless twists and bends, acclimating to the motion and a sense of being led. And there's rivers like my body now, it carries me along through the ever-changing scenes and by the rocks that sing this song. God is a river, not just a stone. God is a wild raging rapids and a slow meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage, a peaceful sandy shore. God is a river swimmer, so let go. God is this river swimmer. So let go. So in my lovely interview with James and Sarah at the television station, as Lori explained beforehand, and thank you for that, we were talking about science and how, gee whiz, you know, we know so much about the universe these days, and I think so much of that is so amazing. And yet I tend to think that our sort of spiritual and emotional lives as a people are playing catch up with what we're learning about the universe. So I like to think that if we can celebrate that and try to try to build our spiritual lives around some of these ideas, the Big Bang or evolution of life on Earth. All these amazing things that we never knew about who we are, that this could help us have wisdom and act, rightly in the world, especially on our journey into the future. And and this song is a song I just wrote. It was kind of inspired by this idea that, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a wonderful, his work. Yeah. So here's a guy who's really trying to get some of this stuff out there. Like this is what we know now about the universe. And he has a story about when he was first studying astronomy and he in physics, he would come out, of the classroom and think, do people know about this? Do people know about this? And I thought, gee, wouldn't it be great if there were, like, instead of people going door to door selling religion, they could just go door to door selling empirical knowledge, like saying, okay, this is what we know for a fact to be true. There's evidence, and isn't it amazing? Isn't this crazy, amazing stuff? And so here's a song with this, kind of what if? What if this happened? What if they came to my door with this kind of thing? And I have to say that this song, for no apparent reason, is written with a 5/4 tempo, which is kind of weird. I just want to acknowledge that because sometimes you feel like it's just wrong. It just doesn't feel like you know where to tap your foot or whatever, and yet it's kind of fun, I think. So, but anyway, that may be the reason in the end that you don't like this song. So I just want to say, okay, that's okay. It'll be over in like 3 or 4 minutes. So, all right, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. I saw 2 people walking down the street, and by the look of them, it seemed to me they were evangelizing door to door. So when they knocked on mine, I knew what for. I said, no thank you, I'm not interested, have a nice day. And then one of them said, have you ever heard the story of the universe? They must have seen confusion on my face when they said religion isn't why we came. Science is the only Bible that we bring, and how we are all a part of everything. Everything in all of space and all of time. Have you ever heard the story of your life? Have you ever heard the story of the universe? So I asked them to come in and sit down. We poured on coffee and we talked about all of the 14,000 million years, atoms and stars and life when it appeared. It seemed like magic, but it was real. The more I heard, the more that it began to feel like the holy word, the story of the universe. Here we go. La 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 How much time had gone by, I couldn't tell when we finally said thank you and farewell. And I heard a robin singing out so clear and felt a little more excited to be here. And everywhere, the air, the houses and the trees, everything around me seemed to say to me, have you ever heard the story of the universe? Have you ever heard the story of the universe? Have you ever heard the story of the universe? Thank you. Okay. Well, I'll just play a couple more songs for you all. So here's a song in our email exchange, Fred. I mentioned this song to you, and I thought, gee, I'd like to play this since you were so kind to come tonight. Fred Small, who's a wonderful singer-songwriter who I greatly admire. I greatly admire your work, Fred, and all of the beauty you've put into the world with your work and the thoughtfulness. And I know that you're working now to help work around the issue of climate change and trying to bring awareness for that. So here's a song that I actually wrote. You may be familiar with this group, Interfaith Power and Light. Do you know about them? Yeah, so here's a group of people who are bringing awareness of global warming into church communities. And saying we should, as communities, be about this good work of trying to reduce carbon emissions and just being aware of these this issue. And so here's a song I wrote for them. It has a part on it for you on the chorus. I'd like you all to join with me. Maybe okay, yeah, maybe I'll teach it to you now. I was gonna say maybe, well, I thought maybe I just sing it and then we can sing it together another time through, but why don't I teach it to you now? Okay, so here are the words. It's kind of long, forgive me, but you can sort of just fake it, if you have to. Now it's so small that we have the whole world in our hands to carry with love and carry with care and give to tomorrow to all who live there. Okay, just do your best. And now it's so small that we have the whole world in our hands to carry with love and carry with care and give to tomorrow to all who live there. Okay? All right, here we go. That chorus comes up. You'll know when to sing. The world was very big long ago. The forest and the fields and the oceans seemed to roll on forever. If you could see beyond the horizon, you'd never know what you'd find. And then, as if before our very eyes, the world began shrinking in size, and we were closer together, until it seemed if we all reached out, that we could reach the whole way around. Here we go. And now it's so small that we have the whole world in our hands, to carry with love and carry with care, give to tomorrow, to all who live there. The world was very big long ago, stretching on so endlessly, so that we never expected that it was just a speck floating by in an infinite sky. So now we know it isn't so vast, this lovely little world in our grasp, and everything is connected. So every little good we can send always comes back round again. And now it's so small that we have the whole world in our hands, to carry with love, carry with care, give to tomorrow, all who live there. Now it's so small that we have the whole world in our hands, to carry with love, carry with care, give to tomorrow, to all who live there. We've got the whole world in our hands. 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 One more time. We've got the whole world in our hands. 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 Thank you. Thanks for singing on that one. Okay. Well, listen, I'd like to play one more song for you all, and I want to say thank you for putting up with all my tuning tonight, which I'm going to do a little bit more of right now. I want to say thank you, Mike, for the wonderful sound in here. Thank you. Thanks again, James and Sarah, for the wonderful interview, and thank you, Lori, so much for bringing me in for this. I'm just very, very grateful for the opportunity and all the work you've done for this show, and Randy and all the other folks who have helped so much to make this happen. Thank you, Steve and Nancy, my dear friends with whom I stay every time I come to Boston, and you know what they do? They put me up at their house, they feed me, they drive me around. They're going to drive me to this show and to Hartford tomorrow. And it's just, it's crazy. You people are crazy. I don't know if you know that exactly. But thanks, you guys. Thanks for all the love and support. And to all of you for taking the time to come out tonight. I'm really grateful for that. I said this during the interview, the TV interview, and I'll say it to you all too. There is another Peter Mayer, who also is a singer-songwriter and plays music. He lives in Nashville. He plays with Jimmy Buffett, among other things. And I just want to say that because people get so confused. And tomorrow at my show, they put the wrong picture in the program. I mean, this happens all the time. So I want to know if you're new to my music and you get online and it's like, doesn't quite look like the guy I saw tonight, but it sort of does. That means that you found his webpage instead. So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, I'll leave you. Thanks for recording this as well. And greetings to all of those of you who may be seeing this on the internet or something, or on television. I'm proud to be here on television with you. Okay, this last song is also has a little part for you. This song is called What If Love? What If Love? And the chorus goes like this. Here's my part. I go, what if love, what if love, what if love was all it was? Anybody know this song? I forgot the words. What if love was all it was? I think that's how it goes. Oh my gosh, my brain is aging. What if love was all it was? Yeah. What if love? What if love? What if love was all it was? That's my part. So your part is the first two lines. I'd like you to echo them back to me, and then the third line, I'd like us to sing it together. Okay? So, what if love? What if love? What if love? What if love was all it was? Let's try it again. What if love? What if love? What if love was all it was? Okay, I know what I'm doing wrong. What if love is all it was? What if love is all it was? That's where I made saying it incorrectly. I apologize. Sing whatever word comes to mind. What if love is all it was? That's why it seemed wrong, because it was wrong. Okay. Okay, I think rehearsal is over. Thanks again, everybody. Let's close it out with some singing. Science has revealed at last what happened in the distant past, back in the beginning of time. But from what the cosmos came, back before the great Big Bang, it's finding more hard to describe. Could be anybody's guess. So is it crazy to suggest, what if love, what if love, what if love is all it was? What if love, what if love, what if love is all it was? And what if that love still sings, is still alive in everything, moving through the whole universe? rising in the light and dark, hiding in the smallest part, burning like a flame that always burns, like the atoms, like the air, invisible but everywhere. What if love, what if love, what if love is all it was? What if love, what if love, what if love is all it was? What if love were the organizing force by which the beauty of the world emerged, that joined the particles into molecules and living cells and redwood trees and bees and birds? And what if to act on love's behalf, to practice kindness, is the most natural thing of all? Then when we feel undone, we're sick because we've been spun around on the wheel of despair. We can just breathe it in, reach for that source again, reach out to what's already there. The mystery from whence we came. Just for this song, let's give it a name. What if love, what if love, what if love is all it was? What if love, what if love, what if love is all it was? Thank you. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Oh, I'm so glad you asked me out because I forgot to play this song. And I was... So I came out really quickly before you stopped clapping. That was my strategy. I just decided I was going to take an encore whether or not you wanted one. So I do find that the faster you come out, the less control you guys have. And I just run right back out. All right, so here's a song that arguably is the reason I'm even playing in a Unitarian Universalist church. Yes, thank you. And it was on my list, and then I thought, man, I didn't play it, so I didn't play it, did I? Blue Boat Home? So anyway, yes. So I'd like to play this song and invite you all, if you happen to know it, sing along. I'd like to treat you to one last little bit of tuning. Yeah, there are the books if you want to read the words. Yeah, is it in there actually? What's the number? Page 10. Well, I mean, no worries if you don't want to actually pick up the hymnal, but if you do, we have the words to the song. Yeah. Well, thank you. I felt a little bit bad about it. Like, okay, I got to get out there. So, here's the thing. We did not always know that we're on a planet. And that makes sense because it's not a very intuitive thing, right? You don't feel it moving, and so we've been dwelling, living, and dying on planet Earth without really knowing what it is. And finally, we invented a telescope and started taking careful observations of the sky, and it was not good news for a lot of people that we were going around the sun. You know, this was really disorienting for a lot of people. As we know the story, it took a long time for us to get used to this idea. But I do think that even though we know it now, we don't necessarily remember this thing, that we're on a planet and it's moving fast right now. We're spinning around the axis at about 900 miles an hour together. And we're going around the sun at about 67,000 miles an hour. This is our reality. And so here's a song that kind of celebrates that fact. We are really seafarers on a journey on our little boat of a planet. So thanks again, everybody. This has been wonderful. I'll be in Hartford tomorrow. If you want to drive to Hartford, I'll be there. And then I'm actually going to be singing and preaching on Sunday at the UU Church down there, which is not something I often do. But, you know, I'll have the opportunity to do that too. So if you want to tell folks about it, thank you. And I hope you all have a wonderful, beautiful, magical autumn. Despite the news, in spite of the news, see the beauty and thank you. All right, am I plugged in? Oh no, here, I gotta unmute Mike, sorry. Oh, there I am. Okay, thanks. This is an old hymn. The hymn tune is an old song that many of us, I did grow up singing this song in church. There's a lot of different versions of it. But Roland Pritchard, we know who wrote this song. So thank you, Roland Pritchard, who wrote this song in the 1800s. And it has lasted this long. Wow, amazing. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, meet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon fathoms, never harbor or port have I. The wide universe I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean. I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. Everyone together now. That was beautiful. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for coming, and have a great night. Thank you.